Hi Blender fans! This short video series will show you how to go from a cube noob to a master floor planner. It's more aimed towards people completely new to Blender, or maybe you have a couple little projects under your belt but haven't done anything bigger. But I will be showing lots of fun tricks along the way that even some experienced users might find helpful. We're going to start by laying out the walls, just like you would for any floor plan. Then we're going to be extending those walls upwards. Then we'll add floors. Floors for each room, and I'll even show you how to cut windows into the walls. And this is done in a way that is easy to change by using the modifiers in Blender. Then I'll also show you some quick and easy ways to add color and lighting to your scene so that we can actually get some nice visual effects. And we're going to finish by working on some furniture for a kitchen, looking at some bedroom furniture, and living room. By the end, you'll have a firm grasp of the different techniques for modeling in Blender, as well as how to use those to create a real-life project. My hope is that by the end of this project, you'll be able to take these basic skills and use that to jumpstart you on other projects and see where that takes you. Are you ready? Well, let's get started. So I started this project by asking myself, what's the easiest, fastest, and most adjustable way to design a floor plan in Blender? And the answer is there's a lot of different ways. And so I kept on having to remake this video and to change the way I did it because I kept on realizing that there was, okay, well, what about this way? Well, what about this? In the end, I settled on, I think, a way that should help you to put something together pretty quick and still have some ability to tweak it and adjust it without huge headaches. So that's what I'm going to show you. You're going to start with your basic scene, and you'll have a default cube, which you can select by left-clicking. If you go to the scene settings, you'll have units as an option. And I'm going to be working in imperial units, and I'm going to be setting it to feet for my length. That's not necessary, but I find that if you want something to be more realistic, you can use whichever measurements you're most familiar with. And I'm going to be doing this because I'm going to use snapping to make sure that my design is as easy to edit as possible. So we change the units in here in the scene settings, and we also go up to here to turn snapping on. What that's going to do when we edit this object, it's going to snap to the grid. Once you've finished setting your units, I'm actually going to delete the default cube by pressing X and press delete. Then I'm going to add a mesh plane. This object is going to be almost the size that I want, but I actually want to make it slightly smaller. To do that, I go into edit mode, I select these two vertices using the vertex select tool. I press GY, to move it this way, and then I select these two, and I press GX to move it this way. What that has done is it's exactly 1 unit by 1 unit large, or 1 foot by 1 foot large. That means that our wall is going to be 1 foot large. Then I'm going to select these two vertices, which creates the edge. And so I'm actually going to switch to edge select mode now, select this edge, and now that it's 1 foot by 1 foot large, I can extend this however I want. Now if I press G and press X, I'm moving it along a path to make my floor plan. But the problem is, if I want to branch off and go in another direction, I can't easily do that. So we're going to follow kind of a column structure to do this. So from here with this box, I'm going to press E to extrude, and that extrudes along, and I'm going to press X to make sure it's constrained to the x-axis. Then I'm going to press EX to extrude 1 dot this way. Now, I'm also going to do the same from this side. So I'm going to press E, and that's going to create a little corner for us. Okay. Now I can also press E again, go 1, 2, 3. That's going to be our door. Then I'm going to press E, 1, 2. Then I'm going to press E, 1. That creates a new column. Then I press E, X, and I go up. Now I've started to create this, but if I want to cut the door out, I need to select these two edges, press X, and press it. Options open up for deleting, and I choose edges as what I want to delete. So now you can kind of see the structure that I'm building. And if I keep going, I can continue this process to create any amount of rooms and spaces that I like. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that and show you some of the techniques that you might run into if you want to do certain things. So feel free to watch as I build the rest. Okay, this is a good point to stop and talk about some of the skills. So I've built another room, but now I want to connect this room to, like, I want to close this wall off. So from here, I'm going to join these by pressing F. So I select this, and then I hold Shift and select this, then I press F. What that does is it joins these two together. Then, like I did before, if I want to create a room or a doorway, I'm going to select these, press X, and choose edges. That's going to cut a hole in that. Now, one more, I'm going to select here. I can press B to select both of these, press X, and choose edges. So now, I have a bunch of different entrances and exits to different spaces. I'm going to run into one other problem here. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go over to this, and I'm kind of working on a bathroom space. I make this wall, I go to close this off, which is going to be this way. And now I've run into another issue. Although it looks fine, this is not actually connected to the rest of the mesh. So to solve that problem, well, there's a few different ways, but the best way to make sure your geometry is clean is to actually delete this entire wall. Then I extrude up this way, up this way, up this way. Now I've created a new joint. And the last step is to select everything, press M, and choose, and it's asking me to merge, and I choose by distance. And it should remove 4 vertices. There's 4 duplicate vertices that are now removed. And so now if I grab any of these points or edges, they all move together. If you don't do that, it's not going to go your way. You're going to run into some issues. So now I have the bathroom, I have a basic bedroom, and I have an entranceway. Now, a few other things that I might want to do. What if I want the bedroom to be bigger? Well, I can actually go to either edge or vertex select or even face select mode. If I select and hold shift, select these faces, and I grab and press X, I can actually stretch this to make it longer, wider, however I like. I can also go over here and do the same thing on the y-axis. But the key here is that I have snapping turned on, and I'm maintaining the axis movements. Notice if I don't press any constraints, like I don't press Y, I'm just moving it around, it's going to go all over the place. And then look, it's not even vertically aligned anymore. It's just floating in midair. So it's important to make sure that all of this is actually in alignment. I'm going to go ahead and finish by adding one more room, which is going to be the kitchen space. And I'm also going to add, like over here, I wanted another door into this bathroom. So what I need to do that, I'm going to select these 2 edges. I'm actually going to delete them. Then I select here, extrude X, and then extrude X. Now I have my extra door into that space. Then the last step was the kitchen, like I said. So I'm going to extrude over here, make another column, extrude Y, or no, X, sorry, to come down, and then extrude one more time, and extrude Y again, and all the while making sure it's all flat. I'm not going weird in any misaligned axes. And then I have this same issue again. So do you remember what we do? We select these, just these ones. We're going to delete them. I'm going to extrude along this axis. And then now I'm going to press A, M by distance. I'm going to remove all those extra vertices. So now it's all joined together. There are other ways to do the same technique. You could use subdivisions to join them, or you could leave them as is and hope that it doesn't end up causing problems later. I prefer having really clean geometry, which is why I always make sure that my mesh is all joined together before I move on. If you have any issues that I didn't cover or that you notice, please feel free to post them in the comments. And also, I might make another video with other issues that crop up. Now, the next fun step is to take this two-dimensional space and turn it into a three-dimensional space. So I'm going to press, to do that, you go to the right-hand side, and it's better if you're in object mode for this, so I'm going to press Tab to be in object mode, which is up here. And I'm going to go over to the right-hand side to something called modifiers. And this is one of the most powerful features of Blender, is its ability to have parametric modifiers that can be applied to objects and removed without actually affecting the geometry. In this case, we're going to be adding something called a solidify modifier. So I press add modifier and I select solidify from the generate options. So it's on the second column. If you're using a newer version of Blender, like version 4, you might have to actually type in a search and it'll pop up if you search for solidify. Then it's not going to automatically know how thick we want. So what we do is over here we type 9 because most houses are about 9 feet tall. Now it isn't going in the right direction, so I believe I just have to change my offset to 1 instead of -1 so that it goes upwards instead of into the ground. We don't want an upside down house, at least not right now. You don't have to worry about any of the other settings for this. It should automatically go up perfectly in all directions. But if it doesn't, that might be a sign that there's something else wrong with what you did. And you might have to go into your mesh and tweak it. If you want to edit your mesh and you press tab and you notice that it's not showing up, well, it's because you might need to turn your X-ray mode on. But even with X-ray mode, I find that it's hard to edit. So you can also go over to the right-hand side here and uncheck the display modifier in edit mode box. So then now you see it in object mode. So like this, I see it, and then I don't see it. So now I can make changes to my mesh. I can make changes to the walls. I can go here. I can grab this. Make sure you have nothing else selected. That's the other thing. Notice how that thing moved? I want to make sure only this is selected. Move this. I can change this, and now it permanently is affected. And then I can undo that change, and now we're back. If I wanted to make, let's say, this space bigger, I can do that pretty easily, and then it now is a permanent change. And that is a very handy way to basically make your life a lot easier. If you have to move a wall, you don't have to move as much geometry. It's way simpler. And you also can change the height of your walls. So if you want 10-foot ceilings or 8-foot ceilings or what have you, you can easily do that. So that is the basics of building your floor plan. And If you know how to do other things like adding floors and all that stuff, and you just wanted to see, okay, how does this guy make floor plans, then this is the basics. This is all you'd need. Um, but if you want to continue with these lessons, what we're going to be doing next is adding floors, adding the materials, and adding windows. So stay tuned for the next video where we're going to be covering floors.